It's day 172
of the 29th year and beyond. Okay, so today I have a question from Kyle Mays.
Okay.
And he said, he was questioning, how do you, don't let others define your altitude. So how do you keep others from defining your altitude? And I said, okay, well, what does altitude mean? He said, change where you're at, the momentum you got going as a couple. He said it can be like just somebody come over to your house, or you can be at a table, somebody can say something, and all of a sudden, boom.
What I would simply say is it gets back to knowing who you are as a couple, as a family, and maintaining the integrity of what you have decided you want to do and you want to achieve. Because people will always be willing to give unsolicited advice, right? And sometimes they mean well, many times they may mean well. However, at the end of the day, we've talked about having, or at least I think we have, but talked about having a vision, which vision for me always means destiny. It's not where you are, it's where you're headed. And so as a family, if your vision is we're going to achieve this, then anything that derails you from that vision, taking you away from your destiny, then it's simple that, okay, I appreciate that, but it does not undergird and reinforce where we're headed. Okay. If that makes sense.
So, altitude is a distance measurement, usually in the vertical or up direction, right?
Right.
Between a reference datum and a point or an object.
Okay.
So birds, who to me are very interesting because they just can seemingly get altitude however they want to. Gain altitude by soaring into the wind one way. They can jump. Some run and start flying. And then you have the hummingbird and their wing beats. But here's the thing. Center of gravity is the balance point between their wings and their head and their tail. So in a relationship, you got to have a center of gravity. What's our center of gravity?
Christ.
That's right. Christ is our center of gravity. And, when I started thinking about it, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it really makes a whole lot of sense, because with a bird, they fly seemingly with no challenge. But if the wind shifts or if the wind stops, all of a sudden the altitude will start dropping.
Okay.
So it's the same thing that you were saying. Something can get in there and change the way that their altitude.
The other thing with birds is, birds will fly in a V formation.
That's right.
And when they're flying together, the interesting thing about birds is when you see a flock of birds, there's a lead bird, right? And the others are participating. And their participation, they're flying together, and their flight together with their wings flapping and everything helps to elevate the entire group.
That's right.
The birds behind are encouraging the lead bird. And when the lead bird needs a rest or gets tired, the lead bird will drop back and another bird will assume that position. They're carrying the weight.
That's right.
Of leadership and responsibility. So the same thing in a marriage.
That's right.
Understand that you can get, using your analogy, you can fly and soar higher and much more effortlessly when you're together.
Right.
Right. But at some point, the person that's doing the leading will need an opportunity to exhale, and then the other person slips in. But when you're not in a position of leadership, you're in a position of support.
That's right.
They honk to encourage the one in the
right.
lead. Oh, so you didn't think I knew all of that?
Yes, I did.
Oh, look at you.
On that.
Oh, okay. Any rate,
so, there we go.
So your altitude, again, I think everything gets back to knowing who you are, what you want, and where you're headed.
And what's your center of gravity?
Absolutely. So when someone comes along, whether they're well-meaning or not, and try to derail that, hold fast to your center, right? And maintain your formation so that you can fly into your destiny.
That's right.
Until tomorrow, if the Lord says the same.
Bye.